is about the purpose and meaning of life and its influence on our resilience building. Okay. So what is a purpose and meaning of life? What does it mean? This means that when we have something to look forward to, a higher purpose in our life, okay, something that gives meaning to our life, this gives us the power to overcome the obstacles or adversities that we might face. Because remember, adversities are a must in life. We all will face adversities in our life, okay? And those adversities can potentially cause us a lot of suffering and a lot of harm, psychological harm particularly. They even in some cases diminish our resolve to fight back. Purpose and meaning in life does the opposite. Gives us the strength to fight back those adversities because we have something to look forward to. Okay, this is something we need to understand. When we have a purpose and meaning in life, there are certain brain areas which are engaged at that point. Okay, the prefrontal cortex, the thinking brain, the planning brain, the mastermind brain is obviously the one which is going to be heavily engaged in this purpose and meaning life pursuit, because this is something we look forward to. This is something we plan. This is something we think about. So this cognitive side of meaning and purpose in life engage our prefrontal cortex. Okay, the motivation system is also engaged in meaning and purpose in life. The motivation system is the one that is responsible for engaging the neurotransmitter dopamine. And dopamine is related to pleasure and reward seeking. A strong sense of purpose also reduces the stress response. Okay, people with a strong sense of purpose and meaning in life have reduced activity in their amygdala, okay, the fear center. Meaning and purpose in life is also known to reduce cortisol in our system. Okay, and when we have reduced cortisol, that means that there is less chance of chronic stress or persistent stress. The network of the brain that we discussed in the last lesson, the DMN or the default mode network, is actively engaged in this purpose and meaning of life pursuit. Because the job of DMN network is to think about ourselves and our place in the universe when we're not doing anything. So this is important for making sense of who we are and what our purpose should be. So the DMN is the active component of the purpose in life. When we have a strong purpose and meaning in life, okay, through DMN we can engage in more positive thoughts. Okay, we can plan ahead rather than engage in rumination or worries, because that strong sense of purpose will make us think positive and engage our DMN network in creating solutions, creating new ideas in the pursuit of those objectives. Now the question arises as to what should be the purpose of life. What should be my purpose and meaning in life, right? We need to consult neurobiology for that. We discussed earlier that the purpose of the brain is to focus on survival and passing on the gene. So in order to fulfill these two paramount objectives, the brain evolved certain functions. Okay, so these two pillars are standing on a platform, and that platform is composed of our drives and motivations and instincts. Okay, all evolved to serve the paramount objectives of survival and passing on the genes. One scientist named Jacques Panksepp concluded that there are 7 systems in the brain. Okay, there are physical structures that control our motivations and our inclinations and our drives or instincts. Okay, they are: number 1, seeking system. Seeking system is the system which control our seeking drives, that drive to seek fame, status, money, material possessions. Okay, this is controlled by the seeking system. The second one is the rage system. Okay, now the rage system controls power, the desire for justice, a competition, that battle for hierarchy. Okay, this is controlled by the rage system. The third one is the fear system. So the fear system is this protective mechanism, right? It's trying to protect us from threats out there. This controls the desire to be safe, the desire to avoid risks and things like that. The fourth system is panic and grief system. Okay, this is the one that controls that attachment we have with things or people. And when we lose those things or people, the grief we go through, the pain we go through, this is controlled by this system. Then we have the lust system. Lust system controls romance and sexuality and intimacy and things like that. Then we have the care system. The care system is the bonding system. It bonds us to people. Okay, this is the one responsible for parenthood and romantic attachment, and all those attachments we have is controlled by the care system. Then we have the play system, and the play system controls things like our desire to engage in entertainment, or the desire to engage in play. Okay, joy. Okay, and it's also the social interaction that we engage in. This is also controlled by the play system. Now, these systems gave birth to the basic instincts and drives we had initially. Okay, but then those drives and instincts evolved into more complex motivations that we humans have. Okay, critically, it is important for us to understand that according to Jacques Panksepp, every individual is a mixture of the strength and weakness of these drive. Okay, so someone who is high on seeking system would be more ambitious. They'll have more drive. Okay, they are the ones who's going to be going for the higher goals. Okay, someone whose rage system is high, they are the one who's going to be into power, into justice, things like that. Okay, so we are a combination of strengths in some, weaknesses in the other, and this shapes our personality. Okay, this shapes our inclinations. This shapes our drives as to what we want, kind, and how much of it we want, quantity, right? So let's suppose someone wants to start a business, okay, and they want 10 million pounds at the end of 5 years. So business is kind and 10 million pounds is quantity. But then there is someone else who might say, well, I just want a normal job with enough pay that can pay my bills, and I'm happy with that. Kind and quantity. We differ in kind and quantity. Some of us are interested in this, some of us are interested in this, some of us are interested in this much, and some of us are interested in this and this much. Importantly, we should listen to our neurobiology. We should swim with the stream, not against it. Okay? Now, I'm going to explain this in simple words. Strengths and weaknesses. Okay? When we are setting a purpose in life or a goal in life, we should keep our strengths in mind. We should play with our strengths, not with our weaknesses. Our strengths points to our neurobiology. This is what I'm good at. This is what I like. This is what I'm going to pursue. Okay. Particularly, we should listen to how much we want of a certain thing. Okay. Because we don't want to succumb to societal pressure. That, oh, you must do this, you must have to have this, you must have to have this to be happy. No, we need to define our own path by connecting with our neurobiology. Now we need to have some sort of a formula to figure out what should be my purpose in life. Okay, so it's composed of 3 steps. One is the social side. The second thing is authenticity. And the third step is excellence. Okay, I'll break them down first and then I'll connect them. So the social side. Understand your brain is very, very sensitive about your place in a social hierarchy or in a social circle. Okay, the brain wants to be here, which is the height of fame, the height of attention, and the height of love. It hates to be here, which is when someone is insulted, when someone is thrown out, when someone is isolated. It's very, very painful for the brain. Okay? Remember that story from Savannah where a group of 10 people decide that this one should be left behind. The brain went mental when that individual was left all alone in Savannah. The brain hates it. What's the worst thing that people can do to someone? In certain countries, in politics, people are put into solitary confinement. When they are put into solitary confinement, their brain goes mental. When there is no human contact, when they don't see any human around them, their brain goes mental. Because the brain does not want to be isolated. Okay? So when we are insulted, when we are spat at, it's the same as if we are being isolated in the middle of Savannah. The group has rejected us. Okay? This is something we need to keep in mind when we are deciding our purpose and meaning in life. Okay? And I will come to that in a minute. The second aspect is authenticity. Okay? And as we've discussed earlier, that we have these systems in the brain, we have these motivations and these drives which are unique to us, okay? Kind and quantity. So we need to play with our strengths, okay? Now, this is basically authenticity, okay? That we are authentic. And the simple way to explain it is this. I like it most importantly, I am good at it. So there's an activity that I like and I am good at it. Okay, now this good at it is critical. Particularly, this is something we are not going to decide that I am good at it. This is something other people are going to decide that we are good at it. This is critical. Okay. If we like something and we are good at it, this is a sign that this activity is aligned with our neurobiology. But so far, it's a good hobby. It'll give us fulfillment. It'll make us happy. It'll give us that state of flow, which is so important for happiness. Okay. The third ingredient is there's someone who's paying for it. When these three combines, then we have the perfect career or a perfect job. Okay, but it doesn't need to have this financial element attached to it. A purpose in life could be something that might not have a financial reward. You might have a money-making venture on the side while you are engaged in something which is aligned with your strength, but you consider it as a higher purpose that gives you a higher meaning in life. Okay. The third element is excellence. Remember that the brain pays attention to your place in a social order. Okay, so we have this drive, this instinctive drive to climb the social hierarchy, to move up and up and up and up and up, or move from this state to this state. Okay, this is important. Keeping in mind that the brain is very, very centered on the social aspect, because the brain has attached survival value to this social grouping. Okay, because now the brain thinks that as long as we are in a group, our chances of survival improves. So the brain has evolved strong empathy circuits, bonding circuits, which bind us to other human beings. Okay, this was critical because now when X is doing something for the group flourishes. Y is doing something for the group flourishes. If everyone is doing something for the group flourishes. And with that, the individual flourish. So the brain is very, very sensitive to A, what you are doing for the group, and B, what's your place in a social order. So how are you going to combine all these three elements into one paradigm which can decide what should be a purpose in life? It's very simple. I am engaged in an activity or a profession which I like, which is aligned with my neurobiology because I'm good at it. I am doing that for the service of humanity, the social side. Okay? Because I'm good at it, because I'm doing it for the people, so naturally I'll excel in it. And this will raise my status in a society. Okay? So the critical element is playing to your strengths and you deploy it for a higher purpose, serving humanity. And that will give you fulfillment. And that will give you the most important ingredient which the brain is looking for, your place in a social order. Okay? And the service that you do for humanity. Now, finding a purpose in life and finding a meaning in life is very individual pursuit. Okay, all I can do is give you general guidelines, but this is something you need to figure out, and you need to consult life coaches or psychotherapists or psychologists to figure out what should be your purpose in life. Okay, but understand that once you have a purpose in life which is aligned with your neurobiology, your capacity for taking stress skyrockets. Now you're looking forward to something because you love it, and because you're good at it, and because people are appreciating it, and because now there is a potential of you having that excellence. It keeps you going. You keep an eye on the future. Okay, and now you're looking at adversities not as something that'll crush you. You're looking at those adversities as something that you're going to overcome, that you're going to defeat. Okay, there are stories of people who've been in concentration camps. Okay, all they were focused on was a larger purpose in life, their families. That focus on the larger perspective kept them going in the worst circumstances a human being can imagine. And they came out stronger from that experience, just because they had a purpose and meaning in life.